One day I decided to take a trip down memory lane. It is simply amazing how time flies. The apartment prices are so much higher now. When I was a senior in high school, due to my dad and I get into a huge altercation, which we eventually made up and everything, but at that time, it was in best interest for me to move out on my own, and that was in 1994. So yeah, I was in high school living in my own apartment. I started out by spending nights with a few people that I knew from high school. I was on co op in high school, and my teacher later found me a job. Again, prices were so much cheaper then. And so, look at the prices now. But once you listen to this story, you will see what I'm talking about. Now see, I was in high school, but since I was no longer living with my parents, I need a roof over my head. I thought about living in a quad place, but my mother and I decided that it was not going to be worth the money. Why you say that? Well, the quadplex, it had one room, a microwave, some type heating device, but no stove, and you had to share your bathroom and shower. It really wasn't yours since you sharing it. And having company was basically not allowed, since no one could spend one night or come to your room. Check that out, they couldn't even come to your room. If your family, friends, or someone close had something that they wanted to give you, you would have to go downstairs just to pick it up. What type of freedom is that? My mom and I felt that $300 was simply not, that was simply too much to pay, especially considering there wasn't really a lot of freedom living there. And after searching for a couple of days later, my mother and I, we found some apartments that sounded pretty reasonable. $250. I mean, I know it's only 50 from the 300, but it had one bedroom, stove, oven, kitchen, living room, and a bathroom, and a shower that I didn't have to share with strangers. And not only did you have to share with strangers, once you take showers, you have to wear some shower shoes, similar to what they do in jail, so that you don't get some type of infection on your feet. And so, at this apartment, I started off sleeping on the floor and slowly added to the apartment as time went by. And see, the apartment that you're looking at, the one I lived is on the top left. See the one on the top left? That's where I used to live. And I sure love that balcony. And I thank God for allowing my landlord to be an understanding person, because she found out that my son's mother was living with me. And she pulled me to the side one day and she said, I got to ask you a question. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, do you have a lady living with you? And I said, yes, ma'am, I do. And then she said, I appreciate your honesty, because she said, since you're being honest with me. And she said, I see that she's pregnant. And she said, I want to help you. I don't want to evict you knowing that you got a child that's on the way. So she worked with me and she said she would. And and um and so she said, since you're honest, we're going to work together. And she knew that I was trying to do what was right for my son. And so after that, I felt no pressure and I felt good because I told the truth, and the truth won out. And this was the first place that my son and I lived together. We had some great memories. And after all these years, once I went back and looked again, which I had been passing over the years and looked, and I always looked the same. But this day, outside, I pulled in a parking lot, and I would take this picture that you're looking at, and I said to myself, man, this apartment hasn't changed much at all. And so I just look at this apartment, and I think about the marvelous time. I think about Father God, how He's blessed me. And so as I run it that today, it's Mother's Day. And at this time, I want to take this time to thank Father God for blessing me with a wonderful mother that helped and supported me during my difficult times. And so, with today being Mother's Day also, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all of the wonderful mothers out there. Even the mothers that are making mistakes, Happy Mother's Day to you too. Maybe one day things will change and you might change your course. But nevertheless, Happy Mother's Day. May God bless you and may He forever keep you. What a wonderful God that we serve. To God be the glory. If you have a mother, love her, cherish her, and treat her right. In the meantime, God bless, love you, and I will talk to you again.